Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Be English podcast. I am your host, John Miller. It is wonderful to have you with us today.
And I am Emily Carter. Hello, everyone. We are so happy you are here.
If you are new here, let me tell you a little secret. Our goal at the Be English podcast is simple. We want to help you learn English in a way that is easy, fun, and very encouraging.
That's right, John. We know learning a language can be hard. Sometimes it feels like climbing a big mountain. But here, we take small steps together. We speak slowly and clearly so you can understand every word.
Exactly, Emily. No need to rush. Today, we have a very useful topic. It is something that every adult has to deal with.
Oh, let me guess. Is it about cooking? Or maybe travel?
Not today, Emily. Today, we are talking about money, specifically how to manage your budget.
Ooh, budgeting. That is a very important topic. It can be a little scary for some people, right? Dealing with numbers and money?
It can be, but today we are going to make it simple. We will talk about how to organize your money so you have less stress.
I love that idea. Less stress is always good. So if you are listening, get comfortable, maybe grab a cup of tea or coffee.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you enjoy our conversations. It really helps us grow. Are you ready to talk about money, Emily?
I am ready. Let's get started.
So, Emily, let's be honest. Are you good at managing your budget?
Well, to be honest, John, I used to be terrible at it. When I was younger, money just disappeared. It was like magic, but bad magic.
I think we all know that feeling. You get your salary, and 2 weeks later, you wonder, where did it all go?
Exactly. So the first thing I learned to do was simply tracking my expenses.
That is a great point to start with, tracking expenses. For our listeners, expenses are the things you spend money on.
Yes, I realized I could not save money if I did not know what I was buying, so I started writing everything down.
Everything? Even small things?
Yes, everything. For example, I love coffee. I used to go to a cafe every morning before work. I bought a latte and maybe a muffin.
That sounds delicious, but
But it adds up. One coffee is $5. If you do that every day, that's nearly $150 a month.
wow, when you say the number like that, it sounds huge.
It is. When I wrote it down in a notebook, I was shocked. I thought, Emily, you are drinking all your money.
So the first step is awareness. You need to see the truth. Do you use a notebook or do you use an app on your phone?
I used to use a notebook because I like writing, but now I use a simple app on my phone. It's easier. What about you, John? Do you track your spending?
I do. Every evening, I take 5 minutes. I look at my receipts and I type them into my computer. It helps me sleep better knowing where my money went.
That is a very good habit. So, listeners, that's step one. Don't be afraid to look at your spending. Just write it down.
Right. Once you know where the money goes, you can make a plan. And that brings us to the next big question. How do we divide our money?
This is where it gets tricky. There are so many rules.
There are, but I like a very simple rule. It's called the 50-30-20 rule. Have you heard of it, Emily?
I have. It's very famous. But, John, can you explain it simply for our listeners?
Of course. Imagine your total income. All the money you take home is a pie. You cut this pie into 3 pieces.
Okay, I'm imagining a pie. Now I'm hungry.
Stay focused, Emily. The first piece is the biggest. It's 50%. This is for your needs.
Needs. Okay, so these are things you absolutely must pay for, like rent?
Exactly. Rent, electricity bills, groceries to cook at home, and transportation to get to work. These are needs. You cannot live without them.
That makes sense. So half of your money goes to the boring but necessary stuff.
Correct. The next piece of the pie is 30%. This is the fun part. This is for wants.
Wants. I like this part. This is for things like going to the cinema, right?
Yes, dining out at restaurants, buying a new video game, or maybe a nice new jacket. You don't need these things to survive, but they make life happy.
I see. So if I want that expensive coffee we talked about earlier, it comes from this 30%.
Exactly. You can have the coffee, but it must fit in this slice of the pie. And finally, the last piece, the 20%.
The most important part, savings.
Yes, this 20% is for your future. Maybe you're saving for a holiday or a new car or just for an emergency.
I think this rule is great because it's balanced. You still get to have fun with the 30%, but you're also being responsible with the 20%.
Precisely. It feels manageable. It doesn't feel like a punishment.
But, John, sometimes even with a plan, it's hard to save. I see something in a shop window and I just want to buy it immediately.
Ah, the impulse buy. That's a dangerous enemy of the budget.
Impulse buy. That's a good vocabulary phrase. It means buying something suddenly without planning.
I have a trick for that. Do you want to hear it?
Please, I need help with this.
It's called the 24-hour rule.
Oh, how does it work?
It's very simple. If I see something I want to buy, let's say a fancy new watch, I'm not allowed to buy it today.
You have to wait.
Yes, I must wait exactly 24 hours. I go home, I sleep on it.
And what happens the next day?
Usually, when I wake up the next morning, I realize I don't really need that watch. The excitement is gone.
That's so true. Emotions are strong in the moment, but later logic comes back.
Exactly. It has saved me thousands of dollars over the years.
I use a similar trick for grocery shopping. I never go to the supermarket when I'm hungry.
Oh, that's a classic mistake. If I go shopping when I'm hungry, I buy chips, cookies, chocolate. Everything looks good.
Me too. I end up with a cart full of snacks and no real food. So I always make a list before I go, and I stick to the list.
Sticking to the list is key. It stops you from looking at things you don't need.
Also, I've started cooking at home more often. It's so much cheaper than eating at restaurants.
And usually healthier, too.
Yes, I make a big pot of soup or pasta on Sunday, and I take it to work for lunch during the week. It saves me about $10 a day.
That's $50 a week. That goes straight into your 20% savings bucket.
Exactly. It feels good to see the savings grow. It makes me feel safe.
That's the best feeling, financial peace of mind. Well, Emily, I think we've covered some really great points today. Time flies when we're having fun.
It really does. I feel more motivated to look at my budget now. Let's quickly summarize what we talked about for our listeners.
Good idea. First, we talked about awareness. You need to track your expenses. Write down what you spend so you know where your money is going.
Right. Then we discussed the 50-30-20 rule. That's a way to divide your income. 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings.
And finally, we shared some tips to stop spending too much, like the 24-hour rule for big purchases.
And making a shopping list before you go to the market. Don't shop when you're hungry.
We also used some important vocabulary today. We used words like expenses, which means the money you spend.
And budget, which is your plan for your money, and impulse buy, which means buying something suddenly without thinking.
We hope these words are useful for your daily life. Managing money is a skill, and like English, you get better at it with practice.
Absolutely. Don't worry if you make a mistake sometimes. Just keep trying.
If you enjoyed this episode, please let us know. You can leave a comment or send us a message. We love hearing from you.
And please subscribe to the Be English podcast and share it with your friends who are learning English. It really helps us create more episodes for you.
Thank you so much for listening today. I'm John Miller.
And I'm Emily Carter. Good luck with your budgeting.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.